The cow was dead, belly up in the dust, tongue lolling out like it had just heard the world's worst joke. Sheriff Clay Morgan stood over her, hat tipped low against the harsh Texas sun, jaw clenched tighter than rusted barbed wire. Right then and there, he realized two things. 1. Betsy hadn't died of natural causes. 2. Someone had drained every last drop of water from his livestock tanks in the middle of a godforsaken drought. Taped to the fence post, flapping like a fluorescent middle finger, was a bright pink flyer. Willow Crest HOA. Water usage violation. Rectified. Clay didn't need to read the fine print. He knew exactly who was behind it. And God help her, because she had just declared war on the sheriff of Dry Creek County. Clay didn't storm or shout. He inhaled, slow and deliberate, eyes scanning the bone-dry troughs and cracked earth. His cattle paced, lowing restlessly, their snouts nudging at the dry tanks as if pleading for mercy. He pulled out his phone, snapped a photo of the flyer, and texted it to Deputy Savannah Kim with 2 words, "We've got a problem." Then he crumpled the flyer and shoved it in his pocket like a crime scene exhibit, which, to his mind, it was. Karen Temple had always been the sort of woman who complained a coloring book didn't come with enough rules. Ever since moving to Dry Creek 3 years earlier, she'd made it her mission to inject suburban sterility into a place that prided itself on grit and independence. She chaired the HOA in Willow Crest, a cul-de-sac of 10 prefab mansions that looked like they'd been airlifted in from California and had as much personality as white rice. Locals half joked and half feared it, calling it the compound. Karen wasn't just the president of the HOA. She was the HOA. Judge, jury, and enforcer, all wrapped up in a lemon-colored pantsuit and orthopedic sandals. Clay had known she'd come after him eventually. She'd find old Gus for non-regulation sunflowers, force the church to take down its vintage neon cross. But draining a ranch's water tanks during a drought? That wasn't a code violation. That was a declaration of hostilities. And Clay's ranch was a mile outside Willow Crest's jurisdiction. The next morning, Clay strode into Karen's garage office. It smelled of lavender air freshener and authoritarianism. Filing cabinets lined the walls. A folding table held a bell and a laminated sign that read, "President on duty." Karen glanced up, blinking behind oversized glasses. "Sheriff Morgan. To what do I owe the pleasure?" Clay tipped his hat. "Did you drain my water tanks, Karen?" She smiled, tight and smug. "Your livestock tanks were non-compliant under Willow Crest guidelines. Article 7b. Stagnant water fosters disease. We executed a preemptive mitigation." "You mean sabotage." "Compliance," she said sweetly. "It is my duty to maintain harmony in the community." Clay's eyes narrowed. "It's a town, not a gated utopia. And I'm not under your HOA." Karen opened a binder with an almost reverent flick. "We recently invoked the extended influence clause. 2-mile perimeter. It's all documented and filed." "That clause is meaningless," Clay said. "You can't govern folks who never signed up. This is Texas, not Stepford. We have cattle, wells, and shotguns." She folded her hands like a kindergarten teacher confronting a rowdy child. "You, of all people, should appreciate law and order. Or do you prefer chaos, Sheriff?" "I prefer water for my cows." Clay stepped out without another word. As the sun baked the street into a shimmering mirage, he called Savannah. "I want everything on Willow Crest and its filings. If any of it's fraudulent, I want names." That evening, Clay stopped by Gator Jack's bar. The place buzzed with talk of the dead cow and the HOA's latest antics. Miss Betty, who led Sunday school, whispered, "They fined me $200 for using a scarecrow deemed psychologically aggressive." Clay said little, just listened. The stories piled up, citations for wind chimes, pink notices for out-of-season flowers, threats of liens over patriotic banners. Later, as Clay patrolled his property, he spotted it, a blinking red light half buried in tall grass. A drone. He scooped it up. It was no child's toy. Thermal optics. Zoom lens. Custom firmware. Surveillance grade. Back home, he disassembled the drone at his kitchen table, revealing a memory card. The footage showed low-altitude flights over his barns, tanks, porch. One clip, 3 days old, captured a figure with bolt cutters and a hose. Dean Foster, the self-declared HOA security chief. Clay wasn't angry. He was surgical. The next morning, he and Savannah hit the county records office. They unearthed fake maps, doctored boundary extensions, and Karen's classification of the HOA as a nonprofit despite charging private contractor fees. They also found Karen's secret weapon: multiple subcommittees with absurd authority, aesthetic review, crisis zoning, patriotism compliance, each with fees, all funneling money into a private account shared by Karen and her camo-clad second-in-command, Trent Wallace. Clay visited every wronged resident that day. The tipping point came with a barn fire. The Millers' property had been cited for roof color noncompliance. Now the barn was ash. No proof, but a singed HOA sign lay nearby. By week's end, Clay had drone footage, fraudulent filings, and a trail of extortion. He arrested Dean in the act of citing a teen for bumper stickers, hauled Trent in while he hawked disaster rations at the feed store. Pam, the gossip blogger-turned-secretary, was detained mid-deletion of HOA blog posts. Karen, of course, staged her finale. She barricaded herself in the HOA office garage, declaring it a sovereign microgovernment. Clay approached alone. She shouted through a megaphone about sovereign rights and governance integrity. He held up her arrest warrant. Karen Temple, you are under arrest for fraud, trespass, unauthorized surveillance, and illegal expansion of authority. You can't arrest a sitting HOA president. You're standing. With neighbors filming and watching from porches, she wilted. He cuffed her without resistance. That night, Clay sat on his porch. Across the street, kids strung up Halloween decorations. For the first time in months, no one got fined. Rena called. Karen had tried citing the sheriff's office for community disruption from jail. Clay laughed. Let her. We got our town back. He looked up at the stars. Somewhere, Betsy the cow was surely smiling. And for the first time in a long time, Clay Morgan felt like peace had come home to Dry Creek.